on to the sort of bold climate vision that's put forward in that plan. So, we may need to take what we can get from this particular Senate, and there's some good stuff, that's currently on the table. If you look at the framework that supposedly has been agreed to, there's about $500 billion for clean energy and other climate provisions in that bill. That's the biggest amount of spending we've ever seen on climate, on clean energy. So that's good. It doesn't go as far as we'd like to see it go, but it does potentially allow Biden to make good on his pledge to bring domestic U.S. emissions down by 50% within the decade.
So, of course, that bill, the Build Back Better bill, has not passed. We don't know if it's going to pass this week or not, if it's even going to have a vote in Congress. We just don't know. He wanted it before he left for Rome and Glasgow. Hasn't happened. Thank you, Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. But you mentioned there's more than $550 billion for climate action in that bill. And there is, in the new slimmed down bill. But the Clean Electricity Performance Program, which would have provided crucial financial incentives for electrical utilities to transition away from fossil fuels, that's gone. Thank you, Joe Manchin, again. In your expert view, does this new, smaller bill have enough measures and money in it to halve greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 and get to net zero by 2050? Is there enough in the current slimmed-down version to get to those crucial goals?
Yeah, with the slimmed-down version that you described, and the sort of action that we're seeing at the state level, the West Coast states, the New England and Mid-Atlantic states, if you look at all that in totality, we could probably come close to meeting our obligations, our 50% reduction that's been promised. But there's no question that one of the most potent provisions was stripped out. That was this clean energy standard that would require utilities to provide an increasing share of their electricity from renewable and clean sources. And so what's sort of left, they got rid of the stick, if you will. There's a carrot and a stick in that plan. They got rid of the stick. So the penalties that could be brought against utilities who don't measure up, who don't meet their obligations. But there's still a lot of carrot, and that can help.
Michael, we know that fossil fuel companies love carrots. Carrots are always enough for fossil fuel companies. I feel like the messaging from the Democrats on some of these climate change measures has been so inadequate, not urgent enough. Manchin, for example, as I mentioned, got rid of this Clean Electricity Performance Program, and yet the New York Times earlier this month cited a study showing it would have prevented 50,000 premature deaths from pollution by 2030, more than 300,000 by 2050. Why have we not heard more about the innocent American lives that are being lost to climate inaction?
Yeah, and many of those in the state of West Virginia that he represents. Of course, coal burning is one of the major health consequences, negative health consequences of our reliance on fossil fuels, air quality, pollution that takes a large toll. And so it's unconscionable, but unfortunately, that's where we stand right now. And so what we're looking at is getting what climate legislation we can get, given this current makeup, and hoping, ultimately for a larger number of politicians who are willing to get behind the sort of bold climate legislation that we need. So we sort of take what we can get at this point, but we've got to work for more, because this just isn't enough, both for the United States and what we're seeing from other countries at this point.
Michael, last question, 30 seconds left. What should we be looking out for at COP26 this week? Any particular countries, any particular policies we should have our eye on?
Yeah, look at China, look at Australia. Australia at this point hasn't made the sorts of commitments that we expect them to. China, ultimately, we need China on board. They're back at the table. They've been negotiating with the Biden administration. There's reason to believe they're moving in the right direction. We need China because they're the largest emitter on the planet right now. We're the largest cumulative emitter over time, but they're the largest emitter right now. And both of us have to be on board if we're going to get the sorts of agreement that we need.
Well put. We'll have to leave it there. Professor Michael Mann, thanks for being with us tonight. Always appreciate it.